Hello everyone, welcome to BIM Modeler YouTube channel. So with you Rajkumar, you can call me Raj. So in this tutorials we're going to watch all about starting a Revit family. It will be the basic family modeling. If you are the beginner or intermediate, this will be more helpful. If you are advanced person in Revit modeling, so this could be the small thing that little bit you will learn it from this video. So for basic beginner learner, this will be the good video to start with in Revit families. So we will be discussing what is family in Revit and their topics. We will be covering types of families and how to select the templates and modeling the solids like Extrude, Revolve and constraining it, and parameter creating, assigning a material to the model, and visibility of the element and loading that into project and testing it the same. So these are the things that we're going to discuss today in this session. And so as many of you know that the BIM modeler channels, from that I'm starting to post many videos continuously, and this is the sessions which is for basic Revit architecture tutorial, and particular this video can be used by all the disciplines like Revit multidiscipline people like MEP and structural or all other peoples. So you can follow this channel to start up with your Revit architectures and Revit MEP. So we also coming up with Dynamo and other tutorials like such as um, Navis work and tutorials on say it will be IoT and Revit API tutorials. It's coming up next one after another. And okay, let's start with project. So happy learning to everyone. So start learning it daily. Okay, so what is a Revit family? A family is a group of 2D or 3D information that serves or represent a discrete building in a project. So it may be the document element or it may be the project element which is defined in our project. So you can call it as text, it will be a 2D element, or 3D element, it can be anything on visible in 3D, which we discussed in the earlier chapters modeling. While modeling, so we have discussed it. So this is it, very simple. It's a model which is maybe a 2D or 3D, which is represented in a purpose of information which will show as in project. Topics are types of families in Revit. The first thing, types of families. What are the types available by default? So we have discussed earlier. So what are the elements of Revit we have discussed, and this is the topic. What are the family types available by default? And this is the major category I have split it. There are many more other categories are falling out from this categories. Main or model family, which is 3D, annotation family, which is 2D. Under this we have system family and component family, in place family. These three things are available, which is available in 3D, and if you see in the other side it is 2D. These 2D elements are visible view based elements which cannot be shown seen on the other views. If you are placing in the level 1, you can't see it in the level 2, or any other 3D views you can't see it. So only view specific elements are available as annotation family, such as tag family, detail family, title block family. So if you want to see the example, it is system families. As we discussed in the earlier previous sessions, it is roof by footprint. Roof is one of the system family which is available with our template by default. And component family, which is nothing but whatever the component we needed. It may be a window or door or furniture which we are loading it from outside of the project as RFA file, the Revit family file. So we are loading it into project for our construction. So it can be loadable and loading it from the external file. So what is it in place family? So in place family, which is nothing but, so we will create a family based on their requirement in a particular place. Maybe a custom built furniture in a corner of a room, or a custom built duct fitting in a place where duct requires to be turned in a place. So this can be anything which is custom built. It is specific to the place and project. We don't use it in multiple projects. It is not required. So in that case, you can make it as a in-place family and you can place it on the project. So we will be discussing and the difference between all these three family categories and that their types. We will be discussing what are the difference in the next slide. And so the tag families are nothing but the text which is created as a tag for each and individual element. Have in Revit will have a tag family to it. Major of the components are having, and detail family will be the 2D element which gives the detail of the particular element. So it may be wall detailing, or it may be floor, or it may be any elements that is need to be detailed. Title block which will be used in the sheet, it can be defined. What are the difference between the major category, the model family 3D, and which is system family, component family, in place family? So this is the dialog box. I'm defining it myself, that what could be the difference to understand it. So available in project file. So if you open a Revit RVT file, template file, and you are creating a Revit new project file, so it will be available by default in the project. And it is component family, it is as a RFA file, separate file from the project. In place families, it will be created inside our project. It cannot be loaded, it will be inside our project. As I mentioned, the system family is not loadable, but any other project, it cannot be loaded to the any other project. Settings can be transferable. For example, if you are creating a 8-inch wall, the 8-inch wall can be transferred to the other project, but you can't load it as a separate component. So since it's a system family, it can be transferable. As like duct settings and pipe settings can be transferable, so you can't load it in a project. It will be available by default. The settings need to be defined by ourselves. The component family loadable and transferable. And in place family not loadable, not transferable, can be copy and pasted to the other project if it is requires 1 or 2 times it requires. So you can copy and paste it to the other project if it is required, not most of the cases. The system family, so if I mentioned earlier, so system family, at least, so in a project, if you see that in a project you can have at least one type of the wall. You can delete all other remaining types of wall. You have to have at least one type in a wall category, in each type category. Maybe stacked wall, in a basic wall, a cut-out wall, you must have at least one type. Similarly, you have to have at least one duct type and one pipe type in the model. But in a project, you can start with or without a component family, and you can load it later time if it is required. In place, you can start without this component. System families have an option from 2008. We have a global parameter, project parameter, and shared parameter. The project parameter, shared parameters are available from the beginning, and the global parameters are available from the previous versions, 2018, I believe. So in this version, what we are discussing, it is 2020. We have a global parameters. In project, you have 3 parameters as any options. In component family, you have family parameter, shared parameter only, and in place family, so family parameter and shared parameter only it is available. We have to discuss about these parameters types separately, so that each one of us will be make suring that what is it and how we can do it. As of now, you create the parameter and define it and use it as along with the video. So in a future video, you don't have to confuse much things. You do remember there is a parameter called global and shared and project and family parameters, and you will be able to distinguish between these things from the next upcoming videos. Okay, let's start with projects. So while starting the project, you have to think and you have to select the template in the beginning. So in a family selection, you have to think and select your template. So these are the first 4 key points that I used to keep in my mind while selecting the template. Think you need a imperial or metric family. Whether it is imperial or metric, it depends on your country standard. You can define your units. So I used to take metric family, so I will go with metric. Then think need annotation family or 3D component family. So let's say that you are creating a furniture or you are creating a duct elbow, so it can be comes under 3 component family. So if you are creating a tank family or annotation or detail family, so it comes under annotation category. And the next thing is check and make sure you don't have specific category template availability. So you have to check that. So for example, if you are selecting a furniture category, you have to check the template availability specific to the furniture. The furniture family, whether it is available or not, you have to check. Similarly, if you are doing duct elbow family, you have to check whether duct elbow family template is available or not. Or if you are doing a baluster for a railing, you have to check the baluster family template which is available specific to that category. So because each category, these categories have a unique templates and common templates also. If it doesn't have any available template to the specific category of Revit, so you can select generic template and you can start with the generic and you can make it as any model like air terminal you can make, elbow you can make. So like you can modify it later category as you need if it is not available. So make sure the template is whether it is available or not. At this point you have to check. The fourth important point is you have to think like how the family will be placed in your project, whether it will be hosted on the wall, whether it will be hosted on the ceiling or roof, whether it can be a roof window, so it can be placed on the roof windows. You have to think whether it can be placed on any elements or to the specific element. So any elements means it can be a face based family, so that you can place it on the face of the ceiling, face of the wall, or any of the face in your model. Or if it is a family which is need to be offsetted from a height, or it can be placed on anywhere on the floor areas, you can say that it can be a generic model with the offset value you can define as you require. So these are the 4 key points while selecting your template you have to think and create it. So we are first going to discuss with creating a parametric simple solid modeling objects, and we will discuss a simple tank family for wall if it is required. So these 2 families we are going to discuss. And so also in 3D modeling, so we will be discussing all the solid explanation like Extrude and Revolve and sweep, blend, swept, blend. We will be discussing all these elements, and for the same we will be constraining each element to the required shape and dimensions, and we will be creating and assigning material and visibility of the element to the particular object, solid object, and then we will be loading into project and testing it the same. So always you have to think the family that you wanted to create. So let's say that we wanted to create a table, or we wanted to create a chair. So let it be as simple as table. Let me escape this. So as we mentioned, it's a table family, it is a furniture category. You can start with a new family and it will show us the new family selection template. As I mentioned earlier, it is automatically goes to the English object. You can come back the folder which is in English, or if you need a imperial you can go to the imperial. I need a metric, so go to the English, and I'm looking for the 3D model families which is available all these areas. If you need title block or annotation family, you can go inside here in this folder. So I need to create a furniture family. You can see the furniture template which is available here, not the furniture system. We are creating furniture family. Or you can take a generic model and you can make this category as a furniture. It is also possible, and you have to think whether this furniture will be placed on wall. No. Whether it will be placed attached to the floor. No. So it can be placed on anywhere in the floor but not attached to the floor. So you don't have to create it as a floor based family, face based family. You have to create it as a simple furniture family. You can select and you can start, or you can take a generic model and you can change the category as furniture model. For example purpose, I'm going with this generic model to show category, how to change the category. Select the generic model category. So this generic model category can be used for almost all the category types that need to be created, except these few cannot be created, like balusters cannot be created from the generic model. So doors, windows cannot be created, and curtain panels cannot be created from this generic model. So you have to see and whether it is creatable or not. So rebar will not be able to create it from this generic model family. So let us start with generic model. What furniture can be created from the generic model? Let us start with, so if you select the preview will appear, so both it contains the reference plane, similar it looks. After selecting your template, say open. While starting the after starting your template, you can close the remaining views. It just opened all the views. You can close all the other views, and this is the interface working area of a family. You can select this. These two are the reference plane. You can see that in this place and in this place, these two elements. These two elements in a family, it defines the origin. It is infinite in length and it defines the origin. If you can see, it defines it. We'll be discussing with another video about a reference line and reference plane, and you can see the link. It will come in the pop-up on top side. And if you see that it must have these two lines, and it by default it is pinned. You can unpin it, but it's still pinned by default. The first thing you have to remember, you have to assign family category and parameters. Based on your assigning family character and the category, the remaining options will update to the matching elements, the matching category. For example, lighting device, and the lighting device will have these options, and lighting fixtures will have these options. So these options are different as compared if you see that the light source will not be available in lighting device. So these parameters will vary based on your selection of the categories. It is very much important because in earlier days I used to forget, while learning the Revit, I used to forget to change this category, and I will update it later while I was confused, and I will update it later time. The first thing is first change the category as furniture and give OK. You don't have to worry about these settings, and the furniture will sit always in vertical positions, or it can be in a sloped floor. If you are placing it, it can be tilted, means you can untick this option. Okay, so let's start with fresh, and we don't have to discuss about anything about parameter. Just explore all these tools available in this place as solid modeling from the floor plan, and you have elevation views also. Just explore it and how we can create solid extrusion. The solid extrusion is a simple, and it will show it requires only one closed profile. The profile cannot be it can be multiple profiles in the same extrusion, but it cannot cross one each other. It must be the closed, and lines must be trimmed properly. As simple it is. So it will, the profile, the extrusion will, the solid will be created perpendicular to the profile which is created. You can define your thickness of the extrusion later time. You can just take your shape, the drawing tools, as many of you know that these drawing tools are very easy to handy. and you can draw it, and let us keep the 3D view side by side so that we'll be able to understand what is happening, and finish it. Okay, so the solid will be created. It is simple extrusion and the solid can be created very easy way. And if you see that it is a work plane symbol, you can flip it if it is required. You can change it. The other thing is that you can use these grips to change the value, length and width of the box, and you can move up and down as you go as you require. If you see that the extrusion end and start will vary based on your grips, the grip and grip positions, and like this. You can modify your profile at any time by selecting it, and you can see this edit extrusion option and draw your profile as you require. And you will be able to have option of fillet this corner, and you can delete the unwanted level. So you have to remember, I'm not deleting it, you have to remember so how the error will create it. If I finish it, if you are getting this error, it means you have unwanted line. So it may be the line, you may have a line in overlapping to each other. So this, it will show you this error, overlapping lines. You have to move your line to check whether is there any line. Yes, and you have to delete it. This. So these are the errors and things which I am faced in the initial time. So you can be aware of these things and you can avoid those errors and you can understand it. Finish it. Your solid will be created by extrusion like this. It's very simple. You just explore it. You can identify it. So let's say this will be from 0. It will start. It will be increased to 500, or it will be increased to 50, or say will be 200. Okay, that's it. Once it is done, so the extrude you will be very familiar, and we can go with solid blend. The solid blend, which is nothing but it combines two profiles into a single solid model. You have to draw two profiles, a closed profile, and each profile must have a single closed loop. It should not have multiple closed loop, and you will be able to do it as you go. Just you have to follow through the conceptual tab and you can do it. Blend it, and if you see the edit top and edit bottoms is possible. And first thing is that if it shows that edit top, you are editing the bottom, and you just draw the rectangle shape, and you can finish and go with the top section and draw like this, and you will be able to have the another profile over in this place or to this place. And as I mentioned earlier, you should not have two profile in the same, two closed loop in the same object. It must have only one closed loop. So delete the other one, and you can go back to the edit base and edit top. I have drawn it in apart, both are drawn in apart distance, so that we'll be able to understand what is happening. Yes, once it is done, you can see that this model it is created, and you can adjust your grip like this, and you see how it is created. And now you will be able to have the control of editing the base, editing the top. You can move it back inside to see the shape how it is created. So you have to understand and see that what is the shape that you needed. whether you need a rectangle shape or you need a different shape which requires to be created. So you have to understand the furniture or any other component shape, and you have to create it from this. You have to understand the solid model and how it will be, the shape will be created and it can be built. So this is how a blend will work. And you have other options in the blend. You can edit it after selection. You have option to edit it, edit base or top, and you have the option to edit vertex. And by default, if you see that it is joining with two vertex which is available with our circle, and by default it will have the vertex in these two ends, automatically it will join. You can edit the vertex by using this option like this, and you can finish it. And we need it to edit it something like this, and control it, and this one, or you can twist it around with the other side and see how you can change the shape of the model like this, and you can come back and finish it. The shape of the model can twist it into and 180-degree to the other side. So this is how you will be able to create a blend shape. Revolve will be the next one. How can we use the revolve? The revolve will be the simplest one, and you have to have a circular object which can be anything like water bottle or anything like object which is circular in shape. We have to draw a profile and center axis. That is the requirement we have to do. So to draw a sweep, we have to have a profile. So depends on the shape requirement, you have to change the position. It may be front view or it may be plan view. For this, our working plane will be on the ground level, so it will be the first this level. Automatically it will be created along the level. So let's say revolve, so we have to create boundary lines like this, and in plan view I'm just creating a boundary line. Let's say that we need a sphere, and it will be like this. So you have to draw off circle, off object sectional view. You have to draw a sectional view like this, a closed profile, and take action line, axis line, and draw it the position where you need to. You can draw it at any length or any positions. So we need to have a closed sphere, so you have to draw it on the edge. It will be a sphere as you need it. If you have a sphere hole or something gap between the profile, you can edit the profile again. You can move the axis and you can play around like this, and you can get to know what is being created. The space can be created as a void in between them. Edit it again. As I mentioned, it can be finished like this. The shape can vary into a different shape like this. You can do it this way. And only thing, the maximum thing that we have to remember, I used to, in the beginning days, I used to forget this axis line. You have to click and draw it. I used to forget this, and when you forget this to draw axis line, it will show this error, axis of the revolution not specified. You have to draw it compulsory. And second thing that I do is, if you do a crossing it, so see, while rotating this element 160-degree, so it will cross with the same element. It cannot be possible. You can have it here and finishing it, it cannot be possible. Since this element overlapping with the same element, you have to have apart from this edge to this direction, or this edge to this direction you can have and finish it. So it should not overlap with the profile, so it must be apart from the axis line must be apart from the section. So these two errors I used to get in the beginning as many times as possible. So try to avoid this, or if you are getting it, you can easily follow this video and you can follow it. Just finish it. And sweep. So sweep families are very good at constraining. If you are discussing about constraining and parametric modeling, sweep will be the best option to go for, and extrusion will be the go for the second option. It has many features and functions. So the sweep requires a path. So it requires a path and a profile. The profile must be close to profile. It can have multiple profiles in the same profile sections, but you have to have single path which is connected, which must be connected together. So you can create something like similar to this. The profile can be drawn, hand drawn at the same time, or it can be profile family which can be loadable. The profile family, which is discussed separately because we are using it in many places, we have created it separately. You can see the pop-up on the top. Let's start with profile family. As simple, you have two options for the path, to create a path. If you have an existing model, something like this, you can create it. You can pick the path and you can pick these edges of this element and you can create it, or you can sketch the path separately somewhere you need, or on the same edges you can draw it. Let us use the pick path first time. And whatever the lines that you have to notice that you have to mention it, this one. Whenever you select the first line, the position of the profile will be taken in the first line. So for example, this one, the position of the profile will come in this place, and it will be constrained along with this line first, and it will go next to the other lines if selecting. So if I delete this first line, say deleting, it will move to the next line. Similarly, it will go and go for like that. You can keep this as a closed profile. Path can be a closed or open. So it must have a path, continuous connected path. It can be any lines, so from one to other. Let's finish this and create a profile from edit profile option. So edit profile and draw your profile. It may be a circular or the shapes that you needed, like this. So the error I used to get as similar as I mentioned, you should have awareness what is the shape dimensions and what is the diameter dimensions. Once if it is goes this direction, it should not cross one another and it will create an error. So if I finish this, it doesn't cross with the other elements, if you see, and or if I am trying to create a bigger element of more than this element, finishing it, and we have the option cannot create sweep, delete element. We don't want to do it, and just keep it small and try with the edges, reduce the edges and try to create as possible. This is the maximum time that I used to get the errors. So you keep it minimum as possible. Or required shapes, make sure that you are having the required dimension. So if you see that shape can be created along the path. The beauty and the purpose of this picking the path is that whenever you change the dimension of the extrusion, so the profile of the sweep will get changed automatically, like this, and it keep on changing. That's the beauty of this picking the path profile. Or the other way is that you can create your own shapes by sketching the path and draw the shape that you needed, maybe from any of these line types, something like this, and go with line like this and finish it, and say the first line will have the profile option, and you can edit the profile, it will ask us to select it. So if you are doing it at the first time, you maybe get confused with this dialog box. So you have to understand this dialog box gives the option to go to the view. So because we are in a plan view, the profile will be in the perpendicular view, so automatically it will ask us to go to the other view or the other side, elevation view or in 3D view, to create the profile too easily. So it is best that you can go any of the perpendicular elevation view or the section view, or I used to go with 3D views so that it will be easy for me to do. In a 3D view, you can draw your shapes something like this and to the mid of the profile, and you can draw, as I mentioned earlier, it must be closed, it should not cross with each other, and you can even have multiple profile in the same path. Finish it, finish one more time, and as we said earlier, it should not, the edges should not cross one another. If you see that while turning this direction, it crosses with the other element. So cancel it back and reduce the diameter of this pipe, reduce it to small, finishing it one more time. The same error it comes, let me delete it, finish it, same error. Or we have to change the path smoothness. Let's go back and change the path smoothness, finish it. Double clicking the profile or path will give us the option to edit it, and we can use this smooth arrow and can join with that element, trim and extend. Let's try now. So these are the options that while you create the element, so these are the option while you will face it, these are the errors. So if your profile is not proper, and it will create the error, so you can adjust your profile as along it goes and finishing it. Okay, so there is an error in this place. Let us create Control Z, Control Z. Change this spline. The spline has a problem. Let us change this one. As smooth as possible, and in this place also. Finish it. Same error, I could not see what is it. Okay, so let's say we delete this element, create an arc between these, see whether it works out. Yes, it works. There is a problem with spline, so or otherwise we'll try with only the spline, delete remaining elements, something like this, and finish it one more time. It could be possible. You can have multiple profiles and you have to adjust the profile to match with the elements. As I mentioned earlier, you can have multiple profile shapes also. Finish it, select profile, edit profile. Now at the same time, but only things that you have to remember in mind, you could not have the option to take off material take off while taking them off. We have to count it as two pipes, and but this element will be considered as a single element, so make sure that you have two separate sweeps so that it will be counted. Okay, so this is how we do sweep. And swept blend, so swept blend is by the name you can understand blend and sweep combined together. and the limitations are you can have two different shape profiles, and the path, you have to have one single path, and it will become swept blend, and it will create the shape something like this. The two different shapes can be combined in a path. That is the abbreviations you can say. So swept blend, it will ask us to as usual, it will ask us to draw this shape. You must have only one line, segment of line, but in previous case we can have multiple segment of lines. So draw one segment of line, and the two planes are created. You can see in both ends. You can have select profile 1, select profile 2, select the profile 1, edit profile, edit the shape, finish it. To the other side, select profile 2, edit it. You can have a different shape and finish it. So the now thing is that you have to remember the object that we are trying to do and match with the elements that we require to do. So let us delete all these elements. Now we'll try to create these as a parametric table family and with the parameters. Let's say extrude. So before doing extrude or any other objects, we have to constrain, we have to learn about constraints also. So the reference plane helps us to constrain it. So we need a table which will have a 4 legs and a tabletop object. There are different elements, we have to control it. So say for example create similar, you can create this element by create similar or create reference plane, and you have the option of drawing tool. You can draw it exactly from this place to this place, this direction, or you can copy paste, or you can offset it by the different values. It is not required to be the exact length. You can draw on your own. For a neatness purpose, we can draw as good as possible, matching with the other reference line which is on the center. So while creating the family position, so you can draw it in any place of this center axis. Do remember while placing what is the position will be comfortable, or placing the elements while you place the component. You can draw it in any quadrant or exactly middle of the element. This table going to be center of the table. Our position of the hand will be on the center of the table. You can draw it. So this reference plane can help us to constrain our parametric table. Let us say we need a parameters. So as we discussed earlier, we can have a parameter in this place, family types. Say creating a new parameter. So do remember we are creating family parameter, not the shared parameter. As I mentioned earlier, it will be discussed in a separate video. The name of the parameter, it is table length, and it will be the type property, not the instance, because we used to have only say for example 6 feet into 3 feet table and 10 feet into 2 feet table. So this is the length, two types of component we have. It cannot be changed the instance to instance. So it will be the type parameter, and it will be the common, not the HVAC or electrical equipment. It's a common length parameter. It will be grouped under, if you see this identity data, it is called grouping. Under dimension, it will be shown. Okay. And let's say one more parameter, table width. Similar parameters settings, and table height. one more parameter for table top thickness. We can assign these values later time, or it will be taken automatically from our model. We can assign it later, no issues, and give OK. Or say new type, we have to create the type. The type will be 10, say 6 feet table into 3 feet. This is one type. In this type, we do need the height also. The height of the table may be 3.5, or say it will be 3.5 feet. Okay. Now type that the height as 3.5 feet. It will be automatically converted as millimeter, because since our unit value it is in millimeter. The table length will be, have to rename this, edit parameter and length. Table length will be 6 feet. You have to type this 6 feet or millimeter. So if you know the values in millimeter, you can enter it directly. And thickness will be 50 millimeter. Table width will be 3 feet. This is our first type. Let's create the manufacturer details. If you have, you can fill it up, and you can type the URL if you have. Okay. So we have to create, as of now, we have to create two different models which can be solved. Like in a table, we have a top layer, we can create it in extrusion, and the legs can be created as 4 different extrude or as single extrude. Both can be solvable, but you have to think which method is easy. Let's go and say dimension to this element. We are making a continuous dimension to make it equal in both the directions. Already it is an equal dimension, but still for a constraining purpose we are making it equal. Again, outer to outer dimension, to assign the parameter, saying it will be the table length. Similarly, for table width, equally constraining, it is not equally aligned. Once you click this button, it will become automatically equal in both directions. And this will be our table width. So do see that the value is constrained already. So whenever you assign this value, it will automatically become as equal to the value 914. Okay, so if you see in plan view, the constraining are done, but in a elevation view, we have to constrain it. Go to the front view, and you can see the reference level. You can make hide h, and you can see one more reference plane in this place. These two are interlocked with one another. So whenever you do constraints, do remember you have to lock it with this reference line, not level. So our table will sit from this level, this position to like this, and we need to define the height of the table like this, and we have to define the thickness of the table like this. We can create a dimension di from here to C. By default, it will show us the reference level. Use the tab key to select the reference plane. In this place, select these two, select it, change the parameter as table thickness, change this parameter to table height. That's it. So if you don't want to affect this table thickness, make sure you lock it so it will not move as you move like this. it will be controlled only by the parameters inside our from here. That's it. So the constrainings and parameter creations are done. So we have to create the table. As simple it is. You can go to the extrusion, take it, and the leg will be in circular shape, let us say, because I wanted to show you how to constrain the circular object and how to constrain rectangular object. As simple it goes. Say I need a leg in this position like this, and we can have the leg diameter parameter also. For as of now, I don't want to control it over and again. So let us, this will be the radius of the leg will be 50, the diameter of the leg will be 100. So how do we control it? How do we control these positions? So whenever you have a circular object, you have to select the circular object and go and make it as circular mark visible. So it will show the center mark. You have to use the align command, align with this element, align with this element. Now it's properly constrained. Whenever you move this reference plane in horizontal or vertical, automatically this circular also moves. And creating again in this place, define, copy and paste it to the other places. So creating a parameter is another easy way to control all these diameter of these legs. So let's say align again, align with this parameter, align with the other parameter, socket, and align with this parameter, align this reference plane lock, this reference plane lock. So it is better to have a parameter to this radius of this circle. So click this temporary arrow dimension line, it will become permanent dimension to the circle. Again in this place, again in this place, in this place. We have to have all these as is similar diameter. Select all these four. The second way of creating a parameter is there from here, create parameter. And if you are using a lower version of the Revit from less than 2019, so you may have the option in this position option bar and do it. Let's say this is leg radius. It will automatically take based on your dimension. Is a common length dimension, that dimension to be categorized, type OK. Now the leg diameter is 100 and the radius is 50. Let us keep front view and plan view side by side. Finish it. You will be able to see the extrusion height 250, and you can increase the height to the positions that you need, or align the command with this top level or the bottom level like this socket. In 3D will be the 4 object which is standing like leg. Let us come back in this positions and create a tabletop in this place. We wanted to have a tabletop is offsetted from these positions, and which can be anything length between the length we can have it as per our own offset value. For example, and it will be the extrusion pick by method. We can have the offset value as say 50 to this direction, or 100 this direction. And while clicking, you can see, and it's creating a 2 different options, and you have to move cursor up and down to select the option that you need and click it. Once it is done, do a trim and extend command, Lock with this and extend. Done. We don't need any offset parameters. We can lock it, create a dimension to each offset, lock with the element like this. Now finish it. Since the work plane is ground, our extrusion will come in this positions. We can move it upside where we need it, like this, or align it in a proper position like this. I like to have a cable hole in this positions. The cables can come from this place for my computers, so you can add 3D, can add circular object in this place to create a hole. Let's finish it, make it smaller. Something like this. So our table is done. So we have to assign parameters to table, top and leg. So you can select the element and say what is the material that you needed. So you can create this as table material, create a parameter table leg material, and OK. And similarly select the top object, create this, click this button and say you can assign the same, and otherwise tabletop you can create it as separate as you require. Say for example, I can have a keyboard on this table, so create an extrusion which is in this position from the top. So set it a plane, OK, the top. This is our keyboard. Finish it. This will be our keyboard. Okay, so we have a material for table. Let's assign the material to the table. Wood. We don't have any material, so create a new material, rename it wood. So we will be discussing about the material in later chapter as in detail. How do we create and assign it one by one. Let us discuss how do we assign this simple wood. Then it, as you make fine and realistic, you can see the materials clearly, and I don't need any material to the keyboard. But the things that I wanted to show in project is that I don't want to show the keyboard. Sometime I want to show this keyboard, or sometime I don't want to show this keyboard in project. So you can control the visibility of this object by visibility graphics. In plan view you can control, turn it off like that, or totally you can control the element by their visibility by assigning the parameter. Say keyboard visibility, and you can make this as an instance parameter so that each instance we can control it separately. So that's it. Whenever say, so we just discussed about these options, and we are not discussed about this void, these options are similar to these options. Only thing that you have to draw it over on the solid models. Try with yourself, you will be able to do it by yourself, and leave your comment below if you have anything. Let us test this family inside our project and how it comes. Let's save this family as in desktop, table family, one. Okay, save. So make sure the category is furniture. Let us create a new project, new and project architectural template. Coming back to the family, load into project. Now if you see that in 3D, we can place the table and control their realisticness, and the materials will appear. But I don't want to see the keyboard and creating multiple copies of the same. And if you see the property, you can find keyboard visibility, you can turn it off. So this instance will not have the keyboard and this instance will have the keyboard. So this is how you control the visibility of an element. So similar way you can assign the logical options to the visibility. There are few methods and options for the formulas you will be able to come across with the advanced families that we are creating daily basis. So this is a simple 3D model family. How do we create and how do we use it? So if you select in project, it will be the furniture family. So let us say we need to create a tag for the furniture. Maybe we have to create a tag family in plan view. We have to assign what is it, we have to define their name. So it is best that we can use the text, but the text cannot be controlled. So if I am using the text like this, table, so if I delete this option, the text remains in the same view. So it is not good that you keep a text in all the places. The text can be placed in only few places. If it is a tag, it is a depend on the model, so automatically it will be deleted. So we will be discussing the second option. How do we create a simple furniture tag family? We are not going with the in-depth method for option in creating different ways. The family, it is the annotation family that we are trying to create. Let's see whether we have a furniture tag family. Generic tag is there, multi-category, no. Room tag, no. We could not find a furniture tag family, so you can take generic tag and open. And you have to read this note clearly. As we discussed earlier, this is important things, that it is the center of the axis, and use the properties, family categories, and set the tags category. So as we discussed earlier, that is the first thing. You have to go and define your category. Yes, and insertion point is the insertion of the reference plane. This is the place, the insertion one. Delete this note before using it. We don't need this note anymore. And save this family as furniture tag, and it will show name. So it is easy to understand what it will show. So you have to give the name and properly, and change the update value, maximum backup value as 1. Okay. How do we create a tag? So it is a label. If you are familiar with AutoCAD, it's attribute in AutoCAD, but in here it's label. You just place a label nearby the center of the axis, and family name we wanted to show. So take this parameter inside and say okay. You don't have to have need to understand any of these dialog box. What you need, family name, take it, test it now as of now, and you have all the options such as text height. All these options are in edit type. You can control it left, right, and keep it readable. Save this family, load into project, go to annotation tab, tag by category. You go nearby that, it will show the name of the family, and you can place it. And whenever you don't need a table, you can delete the main object. So automatically dependent element will be deleted from your view. That is the main advantage over to the text what we have for tag. So that's it. So this session may be a longer, but it is a basic information to the beginner who wanted to learn basic about modeling and how do we start and the difference between families. If you like the tutorials, just like it,